Today we look at the Nikon Z8 versus its predecessor, the Z7 Mark II. Cue the intro. Nikon has made some bold claims about the Z8, basically calling it a mini Z9. But what does that actually mean for the typical user? Is it more camera than you actually need? Hopefully we will answer those questions today. We're going to be looking at low light performance, autofocus, as well as video options. So let's start with some of the basics. The Z8 does have a new processor, so if you already have a Z7 Mark II and you're looking for another camera and to shoot them in tandem, you are going to run into some issues where the colors aren't going to quite match. In photos, it's not usually a huge issue, but if you're shooting in video, it's bound to make you pull your hair out. So speaking of video, the Z8 brings a massive selection of codecs, formats, and resolutions. It can shoot 8K RAW internally, it can shoot 4K log, it can shoot ProRes, which is really handy for a lot of you video editors out there. Whereas the Z7 Mark II basically can do 4K internally as long as you don't want to shoot in log. So if you're a hybrid shooter, the Z8 really offers the best bang for your buck. You get all these codecs, and even if you don't shoot 8K, it's nice to have that option to help keep yourself future-proof. Now let's talk about the low light performance. Both of these guys do extremely well. Like honestly, we could put both up on the screen in the standard ISO range and you wouldn't be able to tell which one is which. However, once you get into that expanded range, that's where you actually see some differences. And I would actually say that the Z7 Mark II does have just a hair of an advantage in that expanded ISO range, where the Z8 has a not so subtle color shift past ISO 25,600. Now, of course, the last thing we're going to talk about here is the autofocus performance. If you saw our last video, you know we had some issues, so the actual test images are going to be just a little bit different, but the results kind of speak for themselves. The Z8 was able to track the walking subject very, very well, and pretty well the running erratically subject. I think the biggest thing you're going to find out in that Z7 is just that the buffer ran out. And so it didn't really matter how good the autofocus was, you just ran out of space. So if you're somebody who's a wildlife shooter or a sport shooter or just someone who values that high speed, you're gonna want the Z8, hands down. All in all, the Z8 really is a quantum leap in utility and functionality. It can do a photo shoot while at the same time shooting a behind the scenes documentary. It's like the jack of all trades, but without any significant compromises anywhere else. All that being said, if you're a Nikon shooter who's looking to go full frame on a budget, the Z7 Mark II really isn't a bad camera. We really live in this incredible time where cameras from 3, 4, or 5 years ago still take absolutely incredible photos. But if you're a sports photographer, wildlife photographer, or someone who's looking for a robust video platform, you're just gonna want to spring for the Z8. And of course, both of these cameras can be found at pictureline.com or in our store in Salt Lake City, Utah. But what do you guys think? Are you gonna pick up the Z8? Do you love your Z7 Mark II? Comment below, let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to the Pictureline channel so you never miss a video from us. And don't forget to check us out on our other social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And remember guys, don't forget to take your camera out and shoot something today. See you later.
Battle of the Heavyweights.